Hello everyone. Welcome to this new video where we're going to dive into ancient knowledge that has been kept secret for centuries. My name is Your Name, and today I'm sharing a fascinating topic, the 5 most powerful protective plants. According to the writings of Saint Cyprian, the master of mystical arts and a profound understanding of nature's secrets. Before we begin, I want you to understand something very important. These are not just decorative plants. We're talking about living guardians, beings that have been used by witches, shamans, and healers since time immemorial to protect sacred spaces. In his most guarded writings, Saint Cyprian referred to these 5 plants as essential for any home or business seeking true energetic protection. Let me share something that many might not know. In ancient Mexican tradition, these plants were considered living shields. Osadee, our ancestors understood that just as there are positive energies that nourish us, there are also dense, heavy energies that can negatively impact our health, businesses, and relationships. Have you ever walked into a place and suddenly felt drained for no apparent reason? Or perhaps your business was thriving and then problems started cropping up out of nowhere. Today, I'll present these 5 plants in ascending order of power. We'll start with number 5, which is already quite powerful, and work our way up to number 1, the most impressive of all, according to ancient grimoires. I'll explain exactly how to use them, where to place them, and how to activate their protective properties. Let me briefly share the story of Doña Carmen, a woman who owned a small restaurant in Oaxaca. Her business was doing well until, suddenly and without explanation, she began losing customers. Bills piled up, and desperation grew. That's when an elder from the village recommended using these 5 plants based on Saint Cyprian's teachings. Within a month, her restaurant was bustling again, and interestingly, customers remarked on how good they felt in the place and how pleasant the atmosphere was. These plants don't just protect, they also transform the energy of the space. And that, my friends, is what many businesses need today. It's not just about marketing or location. Energy plays a crucial role that few consider. Now, not every plant will do. They need to be grown and placed in specific ways. Saint Cyprian was very clear about this. Intention and knowledge are just as important as the plant itself. That's why today I'll teach you step by step the secrets that few know. Get ready to discover these natural guardians that, according to the oldest traditions, can detect and neutralize negative energies, envy, and even malicious magic that may be affecting your home or business. And remember, it's not just about having these plants. It's about knowing how to activate and maintain them. Each one has its own specifics and care requirements. Today, you'll learn all those details that make the difference between having a simple decorative plant and having a true energetic guardian. So, make sure your audio is set. Grab a pen and paper if you'd like to jot down this ancient knowledge and join me on this journey through the 5 most powerful plants, according to Saint Cyprian, for eliminating negative energies from your home or business. Let's start with our plant number 5, an herb that many of you probably have at home but may not know its true protective power. Rosemary, my friends. This wonderful aromatic plant that many use in cooking is actually one of the oldest guardians known to humanity. Saint Cyprian referred to it as the sword of households, and it's no coincidence. This plant with slender leaves and intense aroma has a history that dates back over 5,000 years. The ancient Egyptians placed it at the entrances of their temples to purify those who entered. In Mexican tradition, especially in rural areas, rosemary has been used for generations as a protector against bad vibes and the evil eye. But what makes rosemary so special, according to Saint Cyprian's writings? Its ability to create an energetic field that repels negative energies is remarkable. The plant acts like an invisible filter. Imagine a fine mesh that lets the positive through while blocking the dense, heavy, unwanted energies. To harness its protective power, you need to place it strategically. According to Saint Cyprian, the ideal spot is near main entrances, whether doors or windows. You can have it in a small or medium pot, ensuring it receives natural light, although direct sunlight isn't necessary. Here's an interesting fact. Rosemary works best when it's occasionally touched. Why? Because by brushing its leaves, we release its essential oils, which purify the air physically as well as energetically. So I recommend that each morning as you leave home, or each time you open your business, gently run your hand over the plant as if greeting it. Now, rosemary has a special power to protect us during sleep. Saint Cyprian wrote that whoever sleeps with rosemary awakens free from nocturnal influences. To benefit from this property, you can place a small sprig of fresh rosemary under your pillow or on a nightstand near your bed. Let me share a simple yet very effective ritual to activate rosemary's protective power. Preferably do this during the waxing moon. You'll need your rosemary plant, some spring or purified water, and a clear intention. Hold your hands around the pot without touching it and say 3 times, "Rosemary Guardian, activate your power. Protect this space from all dense energy, allowing only what benefits and uplifts." Then water the plant while visualizing a golden light emanating from it and spreading throughout the space. How can you tell if rosemary is doing its protective job? Observe the plant. When it absorbs dense energies, you might notice that some branches start to dry up suddenly while the rest of the plant looks healthy. Don't worry, this is normal. Just trim those dry branches and thank the plant for its service. If the entire plant dries up suddenly, it's a clear sign that it neutralized a very heavy energy. In that case, thank it for its sacrifice and replace it with a new one. Something few know is that rosemary also protects against nightmares and sleep disorders. If you've had disturbing dreams or unexplained insomnia lately, it may be indicative of nighttime energies interfering with your rest. In such cases, rosemary under the pillow acts as a shield during sleep. In business, Saint Cyprian recommended placing rosemary near the cash register or wherever money is handled. This not only protects the business's finances, but also attracts prosperity. It's as if rosemary tells the energies of abundance. This is a safe place. You can flow freely here. And one last tip about rosemary. Every 3 months, thank the plant for its protection. You can do this simply by saying it out loud while you water it, or even leaving a small offering like some coins in the soil. This strengthens the bond between you and this natural guardian. Now that you know the power of rosemary, let's move on to our plant number 4, an elegant protector that can fit into almost any corner of your home or business, and according to Saint Cyprian, has the power to dissolve astral larvae that sometimes cling to our spaces. The fern, that elegant plant with wavy, delicate leaves, is much more than a decorative element. In the manuscripts of Saint Cyprian, it's described as the green shield, a plant whose sacred geometry acts as a true solvent for stagnant energies. What makes the fern so special? First and foremost, its ancestral connection to the earth. Ferns have existed for over 360 million years, making them one of the oldest plants on the planet. This longevity has allowed them to develop unique energetic mechanisms. Saint Cyprian mentioned that its spiral shape acts like an energetic whirlpool that dissipates negativity. In Mexican esoteric tradition, ferns have been used since pre-Hispanic times to purify ceremonial spaces. Shamans observed that these plants have the ability to refresh heavy environments, both physically and energetically. Ferns can be placed practically anywhere in the house or business, but they are especially effective in areas with a lot of activity or where many people gather. Why? Because they act as filters, cleansing the residual energies we humans leave behind after our interactions. Saint Cyprian especially recommended hanging ferns, as he believed that being suspended in the air allows them to sweep negative energies floating in the environment. If possible, hang a fern in your living room or near the main entrance of your business. An important note: ferns are particularly effective against what Saint Cyprian called astral larvae, those dense energies that form from repetitive negative thoughts, frequent arguments, or environments of constant stress. These larvae cling to spaces and can affect those who inhabit them without them realizing. To enhance the protective power of the fern, I recommend this simple ritual. Once a month, preferably during the full moon, lightly mist the leaves of your fern with water to which you've added 3 drops of lemon essential oil. As you do this, visualize the leaves shining with an emerald green light that spreads throughout the room, cleansing and purifying. Unlike other protective plants, ferns don't usually sacrifice themselves by absorbing very dense energies. Instead, they process and transform them. That's why it's rare to see a fern dry up suddenly. However, if you notice that the tips of the leaves are turning brown, it's a sign that it's working hard and needs a little more care. In business, Saint Cyprian suggested placing ferns in the corners, especially those facing the main entrance. This way, the plant can sweep the energies entering with customers, ensuring that only the positive remains. Something few know is that ferns also act as amplifiers of positive intentions. If you're about to start a new project or wish to attract a certain type of customer to your business, write your intention on a small piece of paper, fold it, and bury it in the pot of your fern. The plant will amplify that intention while continuing its protective work. To properly care for your guardian fern, keep it in a place with indirect light. Water it when the soil feels dry, and occasionally wipe its leaves with a damp cloth to remove dust. And now we arrive at our plant number 3, a powerful warrior that many have at home, but few know how to use correctly. According to Saint Cyprian, this plant can absorb even witchcraft directed at you or your family. We're talking about the mighty aloe vera. Aloe vera, also known as sabila, is perhaps one of the most recognized plants for its medicinal properties. But its power goes far beyond healing burns or moisturizing the skin. In the most reserved texts of Saint Cyprian, aloe is called the sword and the shield, a plant with the extraordinary ability to cut negative energetic ties while simultaneously protecting. This plant with thick, fleshy leaves has such a strong energetic presence that even people without special sensitivity can feel it. Have you noticed how aloe seems to have a personality of its own? It's no coincidence. Ancient esoteric masters like Saint Cyprian understood that aloe possesses a particularly developed protective consciousness. But how does this protection actually work? The energetic science behind aloe is fascinating. This plant can absorb electromagnetic radiation, but beyond that, it also absorbs what we might call negative energetic radiation. Its molecular structure, rich in water and crystalline compounds, acts like a sponge for dense energies. Saint Cyprian had a specific ritual for aloe. According to his writings, to activate its full protective power, the plant must be awakened. Here's how to do it. Upon acquiring a new aloe plant, before planting it, soak it in water with a pinch of salt for 10 minutes. Then when planting it, say 3 times, "Green Guardian, I awaken you to protect this space." Absorb the negative, cut harmful ties, and allow only the light to pass. The positioning of aloe is crucial. According to Saint Cyprian, this plant should be placed strategically in the corners of the home or business, especially in corners that face the street or neighbors with whom there may be tension. Why in the corners? Because energetically, corners are accumulation points where energies can stagnate. One of aloe's most remarkable characteristics is its capacity for sacrifice. When this plant absorbs particularly dense energy or an energetic work directed at the family or business, it may wilt suddenly, sometimes within days or even hours. If you notice that your aloe, previously healthy, starts to turn yellow, dry out or fall over, don't worry. The plant has fulfilled its protective function by absorbing something that was meant for you. In this case, it's important to perform a ritual of gratitude and farewell. Respectfully remove the plant, thanking it for its sacrifice. You can say something like, "I thank you for your protection and sacrifice. Your service will not be forgotten." Then it's essential to dispose of it properly. According to Saint Cyprian, a sacrificed aloe should be buried far from home, preferably in vacant land or the countryside. Never just throw it in the trash, as the absorbed energy could disperse. To further enhance the protective power of aloe, Saint Cyprian recommended placing a small piece of clear quartz or black obsidian buried in the pot. The crystal acts as an amplifier of the plant's protective properties. In business, aloe has an additional function: protecting prosperity. Place one aloe near the main entrance and another near where money is stored or transactions occur. This will create a barrier against envy and ill intentions that can sometimes affect the business's economy. One important tip: if you have children or pets at home, make sure to place the aloe in elevated spots where they can't easily access it, as while they are protective, their sap can be irritating. Another lesser-known technique is what Saint Cyprian called the awakening of the warrior. Each full moon, you can strengthen your aloe by watering it with water to which you've added a few drops of your favorite perfume. This personalizes the protection, linking the plant more closely with the energy of the person inhabiting the space. Remember that aloe, like all protective plants, appreciates acknowledgement. Occasionally greet it, thank it for its presence and protection. This simple act reinforces the energetic bond and enhances its guardian function. And now, we arrive at our plant number 2, considered by many to be the most powerful protective plant. Although in Saint Cyprian's grimoire, it holds the second position. A small plant, but of immeasurable power, that has been used by healers, witches, and shamans for centuries. We're talking about the imposing rue. Rue, my friends, is possibly one of the plants with the worst reputation and the best reputation at the same time. Its strong and peculiar scent causes many to reject it, but those who know its esoteric properties venerate it like few other plants in this world. Saint Cyprian called it the destroyer of curses, and rightly so. This small plant with green-blue leaves has been used since ancient times by practically every culture. The Romans considered it sacred. The Egyptians used it in their protection rituals. And in Mexico, it has been a fundamental part of traditional cleansings since pre-Hispanic times. But what makes rue so special, according to Saint Cyprian's writings? Its ability to create a field of protection that is not only reactive, but proactive. While aloe waits for negative energy to arrive to absorb it, rue constantly emits a vibrational frequency that actively repels negative energies before they can settle. Saint Cyprian mentioned in his writings that rue is to the evil eye what fire is to ice. This metaphor perfectly illustrates how it works, instantly dissolving any negative intention directed towards the home or business where it resides. To take full advantage of rue's power, ideally, you should have several plants strategically distributed. Unlike aloe, which works better in corners, rue operates optimally when placed near entrances, windows, and in the center of common spaces, like the living room or the main area of a business. Let's compare rue and aloe for a moment, as many confuse when to use one or the other. Aloe is like a shield that absorbs impact, while rue is like a sword that cuts negativity before it arrives. Aloe is effective against already established energetic works, while rue prevents these works from settling. Ideally, you should have both for complete protection. Growing rue requires some specific care to maximize its protective power. Saint Cyprian recommended planting it in a new pot, never one that has housed other plants. The soil should be fresh, and if possible, mixed with a handful of soil from a cemetery, though this is optional. And I understand that not everyone will feel comfortable doing that. There is a specific ritual mentioned in Saint Cyprian's grimoires to activate all the power of rue. It is preferably done on a Tuesday during the waxing moon. You will need your newly acquired or grown rue plant, some water, a tablespoon of white vinegar, and 7 grains of coarse salt. Mix the water with the vinegar and salt, stirring counterclockwise while saying, "Protective rue, awaken your power. 7 barriers you shall raise, 7 shields you shall create, 7 evils you shall dissolve." Water the plant with this mixture, visualizing a field of green light forming around the plant that expands to cover the entire space. To strategically position rue and achieve maximum protection, Saint Cyprian suggested what he called the 7 cardinal points. This means placing rue plants at the main entrance, kitchen, master bedroom, center of the living room, backyard or balcony, bathroom, and a mobile one that you can rotate through different areas as your intuition guides. A fascinating characteristic of rue is its ability to protect pets as well. If you have pets, rue creates a protective field that prevents them from absorbing negative energies from the outside or from ill-intentioned visitors. Place a small pot of rue near the spot where your pet sleeps or spends the most time. How can you tell if rue is combating negative energies? Unlike aloe, which sacrifices itself completely, rue shows more subtle signs. Its leaves may start to wilt partially or change color slightly. Another sign is that its aroma intensifies suddenly without apparent reason. When this happens, it indicates that it's actively working. An important fact that few know, rue has the ability to alert about unwanted presences. If you ever enter your home and notice the scent of rue is stronger than usual, pay attention. It may be a sign that someone with dense energy or bad intentions has entered the space. In business, rue is particularly effective against professional envy and unfair competition. Place a plant near your most valuable merchandise or close to the main counters. This will not only protect the products, but also create a more conducive environment for sales. A practice recommended by Saint Cyprian is what he called the rue bath. Once a month, preferably during the full moon, cut some twigs from your plant, no more than 20% of the total, and prepare an infusion with them. Let it cool and use this water to clean the floors of your home or business, from the inside out, always toward the exit. This will renew the energetic protection of the entire space. And now, friends, we come to the most powerful plant according to the writings of Saint Cyprian. A legendary plant, surrounded by myths and truths that few possess but whose power is unparalleled. We're talking about the mysterious mandrake. Mandrake, the undisputed queen of protective plants, according to Saint Cyprian. If you've been taking notes until now, get ready for the most valuable information in this video. We're talking about a plant that has been revered, feared, and sought after since time immemorial. In the most secret grimoires of Saint Cyprian, mandrake is called the hand of God on earth, and for good reason. This extraordinary plant, with its characteristic root resembling a human figure, has been the protagonist of countless legends. From ancient Greece to pre-Hispanic Mexico, through medieval European traditions, mandrake has been considered the magical plant par excellence. What makes mandrake so special, according to Saint Cyprian's writings? Unlike the other plants we've mentioned, mandrake not only protects passively or actively, but it completely transforms the energetic field of a space. It's like going from having security guards to having an impenetrable defense system. Saint Cyprian wrote that wherever mandrake dwells, even the darkest shadows cannot remain. Mandrake belongs to the nightshade family, related to belladonna and henbane, all plants with extraordinary mystical properties. Its root, which can grow into surprisingly detailed humanoid shapes, contains alkaloids that have medicinal properties in the physical realm and create an extremely elevated vibrational field in the energetic realm. Obtaining authentic mandrake is not easy. Contrary to what many believe, Not all mandrakes have perfectly human-shaped roots, and it's not necessary for them to have such shapes for their protective properties to work. What matters is the correct botanical species, Mandragora officinarum or Mandragora autumnalis. Saint Cyprian mentioned in his writings that the best time to plant mandrake is during October and November, when the soil still retains summer warmth, but begins to receive the renewing energies of autumn. If you manage to obtain seeds or a young plant, keep it preferably in a clay pot, never plastic, so it can maintain a proper connection with the earth's energies. The activation ritual for mandrake, according to Saint Cyprian's grimoires, is particularly powerful. It's performed during the new moon and requires the following elements: a mandrake plant, water from 7 different sources, or if not available, purified water, 7 coins of different values, a clear quartz crystal, and a white candle. Place the mandrake in the center of a quiet space. Arrange the 7 coins in a circle around the pot. Light the white candle and place it nearby, but not so close that it could harm the plant with heat. Take the quartz crystal in your dominant hand and visualize it filling with bright white light. While holding the crystal above the plant, slowly water it with the special water, saying, "Sacred mandrake, ancestral guardian, I awaken your protective essence. By the power of the 7 realms, by the light of the 7 stars, by the strength of the 7 elements, I invite you to protect this space from all darkness. May no entity, energy, or negative intention remain where your presence dwells." Bury the crystal in the soil of the pot and let the candle burn out completely. The coins should remain in a circle for 7 days, after which you can remove them and store them in a special place as protection coins. Mandrake, unlike the other plants mentioned, does not need to be placed in multiple locations. Its presence is so powerful that a single well-placed plant in the energetic center of the home or business is sufficient. Saint Cyprian recommended placing it where the family spends the most time together, or in the case of a business, where important decisions are made. It's crucial to understand the warnings that Saint Cyprian made about this plant. Mandrake amplifies the predominant energies in the space and in the people inhabiting it. This means that if there is love, harmony, and good intentions, mandrake will enhance these energies, creating a true energetic paradise. However, if people have selfish intentions, excessive ambitions, or use the plant for negative purposes, mandrake can also amplify these energies, causing chaos instead of protection. In simple terms, mandrake is like an amplified mirror of our own energies. That's why Saint Cyprian warned that only those with a pure heart can coexist with mandrake without adverse consequences. The benefits of having a properly activated mandrake are extraordinary. According to ancient texts, this plant completely eliminates any black magic directed at the family or business, creates an impenetrable barrier against low-vibration entities, dissolves stagnant energetic patterns that can cause recurring bad luck, significantly boosts prosperity and abundance, improves the overall health of those inhabiting the space, facilitates the manifestation of positive desires. An interesting phenomenon, reported by those who have mandrakes, is what Saint Cyprian called the purifying effect. Many people notice that after introducing a mandrake into their home, certain friendships or acquaintances who drained their energy or had unclear intentions naturally stop frequenting their space. The plant literally filters relationships, allowing only those that are beneficial to remain. How can you tell if your mandrake is active and functioning correctly? There are several clear signs that Saint Cyprian mentioned in his writings. The first and most notable is a change in the atmosphere of the place. People visiting the space often comment that they feel inexplicably calm and protected. Another sign is that the plant may emit a slight sweet aroma during the night, especially on full moon nights. You will also notice that recurring problems that seemed unsolvable begin to resolve naturally and smoothly. Mandrake requires special care. It should be watered moderately, allowing the soil to dry between waterings. It enjoys indirect light and should be protected from extreme temperatures. An interesting fact that Saint Cyprian mentioned is that mandrake appreciates music, especially soft melodies played with string or wind instruments. If you can, occasionally play music near the plant. This will reinforce its protective energetic field. An ancient tradition worth maintaining is feeding the mandrake at each change of season. This is done by adding a teaspoon of pure honey and a few drops of red wine to the soil. This simple ritual, according to Saint Cyprian's texts, renews the protective pact between the plant and those inhabiting the space. Unlike rue or aloe, mandrake does not sacrifice itself by absorbing negative energies. It is much more resilient and powerful. However, if you notice its leaves starting to wilt for no apparent reason, make sure to rule out watering or exposure issues. It may indicate that it's facing particularly powerful energy. In such cases, reinforce the activation ritual I shared earlier. In the realm of business, mandrake has a particularly potent effect on clientele. Saint Cyprian mentioned that establishments protected by this plant experience what he called inexplicable loyalty. Customers who return time and again, recommending the business without being asked, and an overall atmosphere of trust and good reputation. Finally, an important recommendation: mandrake must be treated with respect. It is not simply a decorative plant, but a living being with exceptionally powerful energy. Occasionally greet it, thank it for its protection, and never handle it roughly or carelessly. The relationship you establish with this plant guardian will greatly determine the effectiveness of its protection. And so we conclude our journey through the 5 most powerful plants for energetic protection, according to the writings of Saint Cyprian. From aromatic rosemary to the legendary mandrake, each has its place and specific function in creating an energetically safe and prosperous space. Friends, we have explored together the fascinating world of the 5 most powerful protective plants according to the writings of Saint Cyprian. From rosemary, with its ability to filter negative energies and protect our sleep; the fern, which dissolves astral larvae and stagnant energies; aloe, the guardian that sacrifices itself by absorbing malevolent works; rue, the active destroyer of curses; to the legendary mandrake, the supreme queen of energetic protection. The strategic combination of these 5 plants will create a virtually impenetrable barrier against all types of negativity. Imagine having rue and rosemary at the entrances, aloe in the corners, ferns in common areas, and a mandrake at the heart of your home or business. You will be creating a true energetic sanctuary. Always remember that these plants are living beings with their own consciousness. Treat them with respect, appreciate their protection, and maintain a pure intention. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it with anyone you think could benefit from this ancient knowledge, and subscribe for more content on energetic protection, cleansing rituals, and esoteric wisdom. See you in the next video. May light and protection always accompany you.